Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ArsenGirl Gaming. My name is Heather, and I thank you for joining me. And I also want to wish you a very happy Halloween. And today I am sharing with you one of my most favorite builds I think I've ever done. And this is the Trick or Treat Tiny House community. What I did is I took this lot in Glimmerbrook, I broke it into 4 pieces, I built 4 tiny houses, each one suited for 1 or 2 Sims, and then decked them out and then decked out the neighborhood. So it is ready for the kids and all their Halloween shenanigans. So let's go ahead and get started. And while I'm building, I hope you enjoy this build, by the way. But while I'm building, I just want to share a little bit about why I went this route. One of my favorite memories from being a child is of going out with my friends trick or treating. Of course, I lived up north, so it was fall and it was kind of dreary some years and cold, and then other years it would be warm. You would never really have an idea of what the weather was going to be like until the day of trick or treating. So you might have the greatest Halloween costume and then end up having to cover it up with a coat. It was awful in that sense. But the years when the weather was nice, you just can't replicate them. And we didn't have a lot of the security concerns that face kids today. We had a lot of freedom to run our neighborhoods and to go out without our parents. So what would happen is the parents would congregate in a central location, somebody's driveway. Sometimes the street would get blocked off. We'd have kind of like a street party. There was plenty of beer, plenty of food. Sometimes one of the fathers would barbecue. We might do party things afterwards, like bobbing for apples. I mean, it was just an experience. And what was weird about it is where I grew up, we didn't do Halloween on Halloween. So it was always like the last Thursday of October for whatever reason. I don't know why, and it's kind of freaks me out because where I live now, trick or treat is on Halloween. So if Halloween is on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Wednesday, that's when the kids trick or treat. But where I grew up, it was always on that last Thursday of October. And each area would have different times. So if you were really lucky and you could time everything right, you might be able to do your little town and then go to another town. I mean, it was craziness. And it's still craziness. I think it's getting a little bit even more crazy these days because everybody's really getting into the Halloween spirit. But I wanted to bring this build back kind of to my childhood and to the feeling of being in a really safe, little contained neighborhood. Now, I didn't grow up in a tiny house. I lived in a normal suburban house in a normal suburban neighborhood. But in The Sims, the easiest way to kind of do what I wanted to do was to go tiny houses. And you guys know I love tiny houses, so it combined 2 really fun things for me to do. But putting it in a neighborhood, I walled off the neighborhood so you had that sense of safety. And you'll see at the end here, I set up the area for the fathers to kind of hang out and some mothers too, though typically mothers tended to go trick or treating with the kids. But they're back there hanging out with their coolers, their beer, their barbecue, while the moms are either handing out candy or trick or treating with the kids, or sometimes it's just the older siblings. I fill the neighborhood with plenty of children, so you get the whole sense of the joy and fun that this night brings. I also added these like dead fall like trees to the back of the neighborhood just to kind of give you that feeling. And you'll see if you really pay attention, even have bats flying around that I brought in from the debug menu to give that kind of spookier feel. I didn't want it to be all playful Halloween. I wanted a little sense of spookiness, but for the most part I kind of went playful and neighborhood and joyful and just fun. That's what I wanted it to have a sense of, just a sense of fun. And this is in the gallery if you want to download it. It is up there. I think it is under Trick or Treat Tiny Houses, or you can just look for me, ArsenGirl, and you should be able to find it from there. I did upload also the Trick or Treat Tiny Houses. I uploaded fully furnished and ready for Halloween I uploaded also a shell of the build, so basically just the exteriors of the houses. I didn't do anything with the interiors so that you could take them and make them your own if you wanted to. Those are also up on the gallery, and I think it's just Brooksbridge tiny homes or tiny houses. Sorry, my memory's going. I don't remember exactly what I put it up there. But again, you can find it under ArsenGirl if you want to download it into your game. It's there. And of course, as I always encourage you, if you do download any of my builds and you substantially change, edit, and then re-upload to the gallery and you want to tag me, I would love to tour them, maybe make them into a future video. You can also DM me. You can find me on my Discord, which is located, the invite is located in my description below. So, any way you want to let me know it's there, I would love that because I love to see what you guys do with my creations because you guys are way more creative than I am typically. And also, what I'd like to encourage you guys to do, if you would, is leave me your favorite trick or treat memory in my comments section. I want to hear about what you guys did when you trick or treated, or if you trick or treated when you were growing up. Favorite costumes, things like that, just because I'm always fascinated by what other people do and how their traditions and experiences different from mine. So I encourage that if you would like to. By the way, real quick, I just want to touch base on the tiny home that I'm building right now. This is probably the biggest of the 4 tiny homes, and I was really excited by this one because I was able to fit in a washer and dryer. One of the things about this lot, going back completely to the build, is each house has enough amenities for an individual sim or 2 sims to live in and get their needs met. But then there are some others like this one with the laundry that they can all share because there wasn't a lot of room in some of the other houses. And so that goes to, trying to lay these out as efficiently as possible. And what I wanted to do is really use a lot of the tricks within, of course, the confines of The Sims 4 that you would see if you were watching, a tiny house show on TV. They fit things in where you wouldn't maybe put them in a traditional house like this one, putting the laundry in the bathroom, taking the kitchen counters and wrapping them around the room so that you turn an eating area and a workspace area. Without taking up a lot of room by adding a table. Each house, I tried to make sure they had a bathroom, at least one bedroom, a sitting area, a kitchen, and at least a sink somewhere so they could do dishes. I, wanted to also make sure they had a workspace so that even if they don't have like an office, they have a place where they could work from home because I know a lot of tiny home owners tend to buy tiny homes to go on the road and because they can work from home. And I kind of wanted to touch on that as well with this batch of tiny houses. But then I also didn't want them just to be square layouts. I wanted them to have interesting angles to some extent, depending on if the house, warranted it. The wooden house is probably the most traditional straight shot tiny house layout that I could do. It's maybe a little wider than a traditional tiny house, but these other ones, I just wanted to give them the feel of a tiny house. And like in this one I'm working on here, I didn't even have room in the bathroom for a door. So that was a challenge. I ended up putting in an archway. And so, yeah, make sure you have BB Move Objects on before you download this. But I put in an archway because I figure it's probably going to be one sim living in this house. And they could hang a blanket or have a pocket door, which we don't have in this game. But then there's no sink in the bathroom because there's just not room for the sink. So they're going to have to share their sink area with the kitchen. I was thinking if it was more like a real tiny home, we'd have a tiny sink, but we don't really have that in the game. So I just kind of left it out to make sure there was room enough for them to route. And I like the way this house came out. even though it has a tiny, tiny bathroom. I probably could have stolen some room from the bedroom, but I wanted the bedroom to feel spacious because in my mind, the owner of this house is like an up and coming fashion blogger, and she needed a little bit more room in her bedroom so that she could work on that. And I did give her like the fashion board and the clothes changing stand in order to facilitate that and let her have something that would be useful in her career as well. Of course, like I said, you guys can do whatever you want with this, but that was kind of my thought process when designing her house, or this house, I should say, since I don't know who lives in there. Um, but I don't know why I'm fascinated with tiny houses. It's still kind of an obsession with me. I just went through and cleaned out my TiVo today, and I'm not kidding you. I probably had maybe 80 episodes of various tiny house shows saved on there. I did have to delete them though, and this is a confession for those of you that have made it this far into the video. So, yeah, I had to clear out some of my tiny home videos, shows, in order to make room for my other obsession, which started this week or starts this week. That was a pregnant pause in case you didn't notice. Christmas movies, specifically cheesy Christmas movies like from Lifetime and Hallmark. I am obsessed with them. And this weekend kicks off like Lifetime. I think there's 4 brand new Christmas movies. So if you're into them like I am, go check that out. But yeah, so there's 4. And then from now until Christmas, I will be recording cheesy Christmas movies. The funny thing is, I'm totally into them at this time of year. By the time Christmas and New Year's rolls around, I'll be over them. Delete whatever I don't watch from my TiVo by the middle of January, and then I'll be fine for the rest of the year. I don't like dig into like Christmas in July or anything like that. But yeah, I get really obsessed at this time of year. I don't know why. They're all the same formula. I mean, I could freaking write the script for a cheesy Christmas movie, but I am obsessed with them. So, yeah, so I had to get rid of some of my tiny home shows in order to make room for my cheesy Christmas movies. On the upside, streaming now allows us to watch this kind of stuff pretty much on demand. So, it's not going to be that big of a hardship. But oh man, it was hard to delete them. It really was. I was like, oh, I love my tiny house shows so much. Do I love tiny house more than Christmas movies? And then I was like, okay, Christmas movies won, because typically if you don't catch them in this time, it's really hard to know which ones you haven't watched. And typically what I do is I only record the ones that are new for 2019. So I won't go and watch 2018 ones very often unless it's one with somebody in it and I'm like, oh, I missed that one. But that's how I set up my recordings, is I just pay attention to the year and I record for 2019 versus any of the other ones. So that's my little trick to making sure I don't miss out on the most wonderful time of year on cheesy TV. Okay, anyway, I'm just about ready to wrap up this build and then show you all of the fun scenes. Now, you'll definitely want to watch them because I set the scene for trick-or-treating really well. I lost some of my footage where I was decorating for trick-or-treat, so I apologize that it's not all there, but I mostly use stuff from Seasons and Spooky Stuff. They go Spooky Stuff back. So if you have those, it'll be pretty easy to replicate. And yeah, so I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and watch the end of the video and enjoy all of the scenes, because it's really a cute one. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know you watched. And of course, if you're new to my channel and you want to see more, I encourage you please to subscribe, then ring the bell, and let YouTube know you like notifications when I post something new on the channel. That way you don't miss out on anything coming down the line. And there is lots more coming. Guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of this build. I'll see you next time.